I grew up in South Philadelphia. I grew up in South Philly.
I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland.
I grew up in Newark, Delaware. I grew up in Newark, Delaware. I'm from Newark, Delaware.
I grew up in Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
Growing up in a city was kind of a tight-knit community. You always had your neighbors right there. Everyone was out. Everyone knew your business. You knew everybody else's business. It's kind of have an extended family, whether you like them or not.
Growing up in the suburbs was enjoyable. I really liked having all the free space and being able to make friends. It was quiet, peaceful. Everyone was close in age on our street.
The neighbors were really friendly. You could go over there anytime.
You have space to like go in a pool or play outside. When it snows, you can go sledding because there's enough room.
Neighborhood that had cornfields and parks surrounding it, state parks, and it's a big neighborhood. Many families, a lot of kids.
It's not like the city where it's very congested. It's not noisy or quiet. It's kind of in the middle.
The environment is a little difficult because you have different environments within different blocks. You're growing up within poor areas, and you have the middle class areas, and you have different cultures within the 10-block radius. My house was a row home. There were no trees on the street, a cemented yard, no grass. We had 3 bedrooms. We had 4 kids in the house. My brother had 1 bedroom. My mom and dad had another, and we had 3 daughters in 1 room. Plus my grandmother lived with us, and she was in that room as well. The room was about 11 by 11 and had 4 people sleeping in it. No air conditioning. It was very, very small. You didn't have a lot of privacy. You could hear every conversation going on, and you could hear the neighbors' conversations going on.
Our street was the only street with row homes. All the other streets in my neighborhood had single homes.
I'm growing up in a single home. I lived in 3 different homes. 2 of them, I had my own room. Everyone had their own room, but one of them I had to share a room with Allie because it was a smaller home.
We didn't have a big house, kind of tight with a 5 family, you know. There's 3 bedrooms, and my parents shared a bedroom, and then there was 2 other bedrooms. And through most of my life, though, I usually had the room alone, so that was nice. And Amanda and Angie shared a room. Sharing a room with a younger sister, not too pleasant, I must say. Sharing everything, you know, but it was enough space for all of us. There was a lot of land. We had a big backyard.
Your trees, pretty woody.
And a creek in the back, and a big front yard.
Transportation's easy. You walk, you bike, or you take the bus or the subway. You don't need a car. You can go anywhere you want. There's corner stores where you can pick up groceries. You can walk. You can bike places easily. Parking is horrible in the city. Our street was probably only about 16 feet wide. So once a car was parked, it was like driving through an alleyway, and there were more than 1 car per house. So sometimes you had to park 2 blocks away from your actual house, and it was a bad neighborhood, so you didn't really want to park too far away.
Living where I lived in Baltimore, you had to take transportation to get to places, the park, but they weren't near where we lived, so we had to take the mass transit bus to get to them. If we wanted to go downtown, you could take the 15 bus downtown, or when I got older, I would drive downtown by myself.
Getting around was mostly parents driving you around until you were of age to drive, or taking public transportation from school and back.
There would be buses, but you would have to like walk there about like 5 minutes to go to the bus.
Transportation that I used was either my parents driving me, walking, or bike riding.
My scariest moments in the city were the manhole covers in the street, and there was a little hole that they would use to open the manhole covers, and out of that hole came all the cockroaches at night. Sometimes they would fly at us if we would sit on our steps. I still have nightmares about cockroaches flying at me.
Scariest moment in the city actually happened to my mom. There was a hostage situation. Gunmen had gone into City Hall and had shot several people, and we learned that she was standing next to somebody who was shot in the chest, and she actually spoke to the gunman when he came into the office.
For me, there was one night where I was approached with a man in a vehicle, and he tried to get me to come into the vehicle, and I just kind of kept walking. And he circled around and approached me again, and this time he got out of the car with a gun. And I just kept walking.
The scariest moment in the suburbs was that I was bike riding with my friend to 7-Eleven, and there was a guy in a van looking at us. So then he started like following us. So then we went a back way and went back to my house. But then we saw the van come behind us. So we started going really quickly. Then it turned around and came towards us again. So ever since that time, I carried a knife around with me in my bike pouch until I got yelled at not to. It was illegal.
In the suburbs, there wasn't really much scary moments that was happening. Like, there was like one time there was a car parked outside my house, and I thought that someone was watching me, but it just turned out there was a party next door. So that's it.
We grew up in a pretty safe neighborhood in the suburbs, so there wasn't anything like criminally scary ever. My scariest moment in life growing up in the suburbs is when I got lost in the cornfield with my friend, and we were lost for like hours. And when I was growing up, we didn't have cell phones, so we spent like 4 hours in a cornfield screaming for help, and eventually finally found our way out, but we were covered in like scratches and bug bites and everything, so that was pretty scary.
Scariest moment growing up in the suburbs would be getting robbed at gunpoint at my job, where you would think the suburbs would be safer than the city, but suburbs can be just as dangerous as city life, just the people who come around.
In the city, you learn how to be street smart. When you're in the city, you know fear, and you know how to blend in with your environment and how to face your environment.
It made you appreciate your surroundings, the benefits of a safe neighborhood. It just taught me to be careful.
I learned the quick way how to stay safe and how to avoid being a victim.
Growing up in the suburbs has taught me to be pretty self-reliant. You have that sense of community there, but it's not the same. Everybody's not always together, and not everybody always knows your business. So you really have to be independent, and like travel. Your sense of travel isn't the same because you can't walk everywhere, you can't bike everywhere. You have to rely on yourself.
Your neighbors are like family, and you can always count on them if you need something.
To kind of work together as a community.
To be more aware, even though you're like, you think you're more safe in the suburbs, that it could be as dangerous as a city.
I'm done now.